Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we'll be going through the 2014 action-adventure film Kingsman: The Secret Service. It's time to recall, let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The film opens in 1997. A helicopter flies into a compound in the Middle East. Four men apprehend a terrorist leader and tie him to a chair. One of the men, Harry Hart, aka Galahad, threatens to shoot the terrorist until he gives him answers. The terrorist lifts his head up to reveal a grenade pin in his mouth. Harry's comrade Lee jumps on the terrorist and covers the explosion, sacrificing himself for his partners. Harry's other two partners, Merlin and Lancelot, remove their masks. After noting Lee's sacrifice, Harry welcomes Lancelot into the Kingsman agency. Harry visits Lee's wife Michelle to inform her of her husband's death. He gives her a Medal of Valor in Lee's honor, with a number on the back of the medal in case she needs a favor, and to use the phrase "Oxford's not brogues" to let him know it's her. Michelle rejects the medal. Harry then goes over to Lee's young son Gary, aka Eggsy. Harry hands him the medal. The scene then shifts to 17 years later in Argentina. Professor James Arnold is being held captive by a group of thugs. Just then, there is a knock heard at the door. One thug answers it and finds Lancelot at the front. He shoots the thug and proceeds to fight and kill the rest of the thugs before helping himself to a drink. Soon, there is another knock heard at the door. Lancelot goes to answer and is then cut down the middle by a woman with bladed prosthetic legs named Gazelle. She answers the door for her boss, the billionaire Richard Valente. Valente and Gazelle free Arnold and take him with them. In London, Harry returns and visits a tailor shop that is a cover to the Secret Service Kingsman headquarters. Kingsman is a private intelligence service founded by British elite who lost their heirs in World War I. There, he meets with Merlin and their superior Arthur, his supervisors. They grieve over Lancelot's death and figure that those responsible for his killing have links to Uganda and Chechnya tragedies. The scene cuts back to Eggsy, who is now in his early 20s. He lives with his mother and her new husband Dean, along with Eggsy's new baby sister. They live in a rundown flat and are in a precarious financial situation. Eggsy and his other two companions head to the pub, where they spot Dean's group of goons nearby. They go over to Eggsy's table and threaten him to leave the pub. Eggsy leaves, but not without one of the goons' car keys. He and his friends get into the car and start performing stunts. When the owner of the car comes outside the pub, they drive away only to run into the cops. Eggsy drives the car backwards down a few blocks until he crashes into another car. He urges his companions to leave and tells them that he will handle the situation alone. He then drives straight into the police vehicle. In the next scene, we get to know that Eggsy has been arrested. He is threatened after the police officer that he may face 18 months in prison if he refuses to reveal his friend's identity. After the police officer leaves, he pulls out the Medal of Valor from his neck and dials the number on the back. Eggsy remembers the phrase, "Oxford's not brogues," but the woman on the other end says he has dialed the wrong number. A while later, he is bailed out by Harry. He takes him to a nearby pub where Dean's thugs approach Eggsy and threaten him. Harry begs them to go away, but the leader of the thugs is disrespectful. They call Harry a granddad, making him furious. Harry walks over to the front door and locks it, stating, "Manners maketh man." With the hook of his umbrella, he grabs a glass and swings it at the main thug, and then proceeds to swiftly beat the rest of the thugs and even make some of them beat each other. His moves and skills to fight even make Eggsy stare at him in surprise. After making Eggsy promise that he won't tell anybody about him or what he's just witnessed, Harry pats him on the shoulder and walks away. When Eggsy arrives home, Dean confronts him about what he did to his friend's car. Michelle tries to rescue Eggsy, but she is forced out of the way. Through a microphone Harry planted on Eggsy's shoulder, he listens to the chaos. Harry speaks through one of the speakers and informs Dean that if he doesn't let Eggsy go, he will report Dean's multiple offenses with proof to the authorities. Harry also asks Eggsy to meet him at the tailor he mentioned before. Listening to this, Dean lets Eggsy go out of the apartment. Eggsy visits the tailor and meets Harry, who suggests Eggsy start working for the Kingsmen as his father did. Eggsy accepts his offer and they travel to a secret place underground to meet the other recruits on a shuttle. A girl named Roxy befriends Eggsy while a youngster named Charlie and his friends mock him. Afterward, Harry runs into Professor Arnold, who had been let free by his kidnappers. He confronts the professor about who kidnapped him earlier. All of a sudden, Arnold screams in pain and his head bursts, releasing a strange fluid on Harry's face. When two thugs break into the building, Harry is forced to ignite a hand grenade before leaping out the window. After being slightly caught in the explosion, Harry becomes sick and is left in a coma. When Valentine learns of Arnold's death, he decides to investigate and find out who is pursuing their matters. When the new recruits are sleeping at night, the chamber begins to fill with water. Everyone except Eggsy reaches out to the toilet pipes to get some air to breathe. Eggsy attempts to open the exit door, but fails. After that, he swims towards the glass enclosure and starts hitting it with his fist until it breaks and the water is released to the other room. There, we can see Merlin keeping an eye on them. He praises Eggsy for his efforts, but claims that they failed to work as a team, resulting in the death of one of their friends, Amelia. In the following scene, Valentine and Giselle have dinner with the Scandinavian princess Tilda and the Scandinavian Prime Minister. Valentine tells them about his proposal to combat climate change. The Prime Minister agrees with Valentine, but Tilda believes that he is insane. Tilda walks away and summons the guards. Later, she is kidnapped by Giselle, who goes out and murders the guards with her prosthetic legs. On the other hand, the recruits are expected to personally train a puppy given to each of them as part of their training. Eggsy is forced with a tiny pug who doesn't react to his orders. With time, they grow closer, and Eggsy starts calling it JB. Following Harry's recovery, he, Merlin, and Eggsy discover that Arnold had a chip placed in his neck which caused his head to explode. The Scandinavian Prime Minister also had the same scar beneath his ear as Arnold did, meaning he also has the chip implanted in his neck. Merlin concludes that Valentine might be behind all this, since he met with the Scandinavian PM a few days ago. Eggsy shows Harry and Merlin a video of Valentine's most recent event where he promised to give away free SIM cards worldwide. Valentine is also suspected of abducting several international leaders and celebrities. Harry goes undercover to Valentine's estate to investigate further into Valentine's plans. The two eat McDonald's for dinner and discuss their admiration for James Bond movies, but Harry doesn't get much information other than seeing one of Valentine's aides carry a pamphlet for a hate group church in Kentucky. In the next scene, we see Eggsy, Roxy, Charlie, and three of Charlie's buddies are the last recruits remaining. Their upcoming mission requires them to leap from a plane and land on a circle in the ground. After they jump, Merlin advises them to find out what to do if one of their competitors doesn't have a parachute. One recruit panics and opens his chute too early. Eggsy takes the lead and has everyone hold hands. At last, he and Roxy are the only ones remaining to pull their parachutes. They pull Roxy's chute at 300 feet from the ground. Eggsy, Roxy, and Charlie are the ones to land on the circle, while the rest of the recruits are eliminated. At the Kingsman tailor shop, Eggsy meets Harry and leads him into a room full of weapons, including a hand grenade that looks like a lighter, a pen that triggers a poison, and a pair of shoes with a poison-tipped blade. The weapons are designed in such a way that no normal person could ever suspect them. After that, they discover Valentine and Giselle waiting for them in the lounge, with Valentine putting on one of the outfits in the shop. As their next assignment, Eggsy, Roxy, and Charlie are dispatched to a nightclub to chat and make a young girl fall for them. As they talk to the girl, they fall unconscious because their drinks were drugged. When Eggsy wakes up, he finds himself fastened to the railway tracks. One interrogator attempts to get Eggsy to provide information concerning the Kingsman and Harry, but Eggsy refuses despite the train approaching him. He is saved as he is retracted under the track and the train rolls over him. When Harry reappears, he is informed that he and Roxy have passed the exam, but Charlie has failed and has been sent home. As their last set of assignments, Eggsy and Roxy are ordered to shoot their pet dogs. Eggsy tries but fails to shoot at his pug, but a gunshot can be heard from Roxy's interrogation room. Failing to do his assigned task, Eggsy is sent home by Arthur. Disappointed, Eggsy drives back to his home in Arthur's car, but the car takes him directly to Harry's place. Harry expresses his disappointment with Eggsy for failing his test and discloses that the pistol was empty. He also confesses that Amelia never drowned and that she is a member of the Berlin Kingsmen. Meanwhile, Roxy is appointed as an agent working for Kingsman. After getting a call from Merlin about a suspicious gathering of people at a church, Harry travels to Kentucky to visit the church full of people. In the meantime, Valentine and Giselle can be seen a few thousand feet away, ready to activate the signal on the people in the church who have Valentine's SIM cards. When the signal goes live, everyone, including Harry, becomes enraged and begins attacking one another. Harry stabs, whacks, impales, and blows up anybody who dares to assault him until he is the last one left in the church. Eggsy, Merlin, and Arthur keep an eye on everything from their separate locations. Outside the church, Harry is greeted by Valentine and Giselle. According to Valentine, the SIM card signal causes aggressiveness in those who have it implanted. He then pulls out a gun and kills Harry by shooting him in the head. Eggsy screams out loud in terror. Eggsy returns to Arthur's tailor shop for a meeting. He mentions that Harry had recorded Valentine's confession and pours a drink in Harry's honor. Then Eggsy notices Arthur's implant scar beneath his ear. It is clear that Arthur has also sided with Valentine. We then come to know that Valentine's main aim is to use his SIM cards to cause mass genocide and kill most of the Earth's population and end climate change. He believes humanity is a virus to the Earth and that eliminating them would be helpful and better for the future. Arthur raises a glass to Harry and he and Eggsy take a drink. After some time, Arthur takes out his pen to trigger the poison that he put in Eggsy's drink, only to end up dying. We are shown that Eggsy had swapped the drinks by diverting Arthur's attention away to the paintings on the wall. With the information he's just gotten, Eggsy rushes to Merlin and Roxy, and the three of them set out to foil Valentine's plans. Roxy is launched into space with two large balloons to launch a missile against one of Valentine's satellites. Merlin and Eggsy invade Valentine's headquarters as he throws a party for everyone participating in his scheme. Eggsy takes advantage of Arthur's invasion and poses as him to get entry. Eggsy passes a cell with Princess Tilda imprisoned inside, and he asks if she'll give him a kiss if he saves the world. She agrees to be intimate with Eggsy if he succeeds in saving the world. On the other hand, Roxy reaches the satellite, but one of her balloons has already ruptured due to her high altitude. She, however, manages to launch the missile before the other balloon breaks, sending her tumbling to Earth. Later, she is able to deploy her chute in time and land safely. Out of nowhere, Charlie appears holding a knife to Eggsy's throat. With the ring on his finger, Eggsy electrocutes Charlie. Eggsy runs back to the plane while evading and shooting through Valentine's gunman. Meanwhile, the missile hits Valentine's satellite and delays the signal from going live. However, Valentine gets control of another closer satellite and activates the signal with a biometric scanner, which Merlin is unable to get past. The signal goes live all around the world. People beat each other up in London, Rio de Janeiro, and New York. Michelle is seen trying to break into the bathroom trying to kill her daughter. Eggsy is cornered by the gunman after trying to run back and stop Valentine. Merlin triggers the implants and causes everyone, including the gunman and world leaders, to have their heads explode like fireworks. Eggsy makes his way back to Valentine and Gazelle's location. He fires at them, drawing Valentine's hand away from the scanner and interrupting the transmission. Gazelle shatters the window and attempts to kill Eggsy. They fight each other until Gazelle gets injured by the poisonous shoe worn by Eggsy. He then rips one of her legs from her body and throws it at Valentine's back, killing him on the spot. As a result, every signal is permanently disabled. After that, Eggsy is congratulated by Merlin and Roxy for rescuing the planet. He then goes to Tilda's cell with a bottle of champagne and shares an intimate moment with her as she promised. Before the end credits roll, Michelle and Dean are seen at the tavern. Eggsy walks in wearing a nice suit, informing Michelle that his new job has provided him many privileges, including a new home for Michelle and his sister. Dean sends his thugs to harass Eggsy once more, while Eggsy walks to shut the front door and says, "Manners maketh man," as Harry once stated. He grabs a glass with the umbrella hook and throws it at Dean's face as the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get new movie recaps.